that person hopefully understands that that's office hours. Please don't ask me to go out on a date or something. Or is it working?
Yep, it's working. Hi.
How are you?
Good. Oh my goodness, I love your hair wrap.
Oh, thanks.
I
It is a
love
lifesaver.
it. But I just want to say hi to everybody again and welcome to our first Instagram Live on Publicist Grind's page. This is going to be our mukbang meeting. That's what we're going to call it. I'm trying to have one like every month or so that we can recognize people who are doing great things out here in our society, and also just trying to make some connections and see like where we can like bridge some gaps in our different industries that we're in. So, hi everybody. Just saying hi to everybody. All right, so we can get started. Jen, so please introduce yourself and tell them what you do.
Sure. My name's Jen. I'm the owner and operator of So Yoga Philly. And So Yoga Philly is located in Philly. It's partly why I named it that, because I wanted people to know like we are in Philly.
Right.
We cater to mostly African American or BIPOC. And we make wellness services and alternative wellness services accessible to people in the Philadelphia area, which is a demographic that usually don't have access to alternative medicine such as Reiki, yoga, mental health therapy, herbal consultations. That's what we offer and that's what we do. And we love doing it.
Love it. I love it. And so before we go any further, I just wanted to mention how I found out about you. I think I told you, didn't I?
I don't think so. I don't
No?
know.
Oh my goodness. Okay,
No.
so this will be exciting for you too. So basically, I was like what is it? It's an app. What is the app called? It's like one of those neighborhood apps. And I saw, I think you posted on there about your services, and I was like, because you don't think to go there for like advertising, but like you said, you
Right.
service your neighborhood, your community, and like you're very specific about the location of like the clients you serve. So that was a great place to go and advertise. So look where it got you. You know what I mean? Like you make all kinds of
Yeah.
connections all over the place. So that was awesome. So that's where I found out about you at. But because this is a mukbang meeting, I did want to talk about like what we have. Because one thing is we wanted to do Instagram lives on our page, but something that Publicis Grind workers love, all of us, it's a group of four of us. We all love food. That's
Oh,
something we can always agree on. So that's one thing
yeah.
we wanted to kind of bring to our meetings. So what do you have today?
I actually have chicken and Singapore noodles. This is what it looks
Okay.
like.
Okay,
It's one of my
listen.
favorite things to eat.
I love it. Did you make it?
No, I actually got it because I was just like, it's been a long day, and I was like, no, self-care. Somebody else can cook for me.
Exactly, exactly. Well, mine is nothing like yours. I don't have like any hot food or anything. So I have tea. I'm like a big tea lover. So I have a tea. Like I don't even know what kind of tea it is, to be honest with you. See, there you go. Because I love all types of tea. So when I get tea, I just put it all in one big bucket and I just pick it and go. So I don't even
Oh,
remember what
sweet.
kind it is. I just like all types of tea. But and I also have these cookies here. Let's see if I can show you. I'm gonna eat them right off the box too because that's just the kind of mood I'm in. So all right. You can see those. There's
Oh, those look
it's like an
amazing.
assortment of cookies. Like we have some chocolate with like powdered sugar. We have I don't these are not sugar cookies, there's something else. But I just asked for an assortment of cookies and that's what I got. And these are like bean
That looks
cookies.
really good.
I tried these this morning. They were really good with my coffee, so I think I'm gonna save those for the morning. I'm gonna just pick those out and bring them like for breakfast tomorrow. But yeah, they've been really good.
They look
So
good.
thank you. So the pandemic, has that helped your industry? Has it hurt your industry? What's going on with that?
I would say it's helped it because it's made services more socially acceptable to be
Mm-hmm.
telehealth. So before, people were not into telehealth at all. Telehealth is doing your mental health services through the internet or like what we're doing now via the
Right.
phone or via the webcam. And people weren't really into that. It wasn't a thing that people did. So most therapists would have to have an overhead. They would have to have a place to be. Nobody was really interested in doing therapy outside of physically being present with a therapist. But now, because of COVID and because there's so much illness, um, it makes it more accessible. It like opens it up to people that might have needed therapy for a very long time, but just didn't have the resources,
Right,
such as
right,
babysitting. You know, like parents now, they don't have to find a babysitter. They can just be like, I'm gonna close the door for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and I'm gonna get my self care in. So I
right,
think it's helped. And then it's normalized it because people are in crises now. They're dealing with depression and anxiety more so than before. So now they're comfortable with saying, no, I need therapy.
right.
Especially as African Americans, like they're really open to it now. And prior to it wasn't a thing that people would just say, like, hey, I'm going to therapy. People are
Yeah.
starting to do that now, and I think it's really cool.
That's no, it is really cool. And I like the word you use, cool, because it's not like a, oh, I have to go to the doctor. Like it is a cool thing. And I think people need to
Yeah.
understand that. But it's just crazy because I think we would like going into this whole pandemic, I think we thought the opposite. Like we would be at home in our comfort zones, like, we're good. But I think that we underestimated how much we needed like social interaction, like in person. Because like even just
Yeah.
going out and moving throughout the day and things like that, like we were doing a whole lot more before the pandemic. I think that helped us in ways that we didn't even know. So now
Yeah.
being back at home and like we're like stuck in more than we can actually go out. Now we do see the harm that it could do. So it just being
Mhm.
on our phones, taking in so much information and just everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely needed. So let me ask you this one famous question because I feel like this is just it's off topic a little bit, but it's a question that everybody asks. Do therapists have therapists of their own? Like, would you go to therapy or are you like your own therapist?
Oh no, we cannot be our own therapist. I will
Got
say
you.
that 1000%. Like, no, you cannot be your own therapist because the point of therapy, well, one of the points of the many, is that you're talking to someone outside of yourself. Like, our views are always limited. Like, I cannot
Mm,
see 100% of my flaws. And sometimes I can't see the things that I do well. And coming to therapy, it's not always just about talking about your problems, but sometimes in therapy, you're also talking about your strengths, like what are the things that are getting you through,
mhm.
depending on the therapist and their modality. But for me, I am very strength based. So sometimes I'm bringing to people's attention, hey, this is what you're a rock star at. So I can't do that for myself.
I got you. Yeah.
It's very limited. Like I have a lens. Everyone has a lens, and you're limited to what you see based on your own thought patterns and where you come from and your view of things. So I cannot say for myself as a therapist that a therapist is a lone ranger. Like you should be going to therapy. I know in my grad school program, we had to go to therapy in order just to see what it felt like to be on the other side. That way we weren't coming into a space, upon graduation, thinking we had everything figured out without knowing what it felt like to actually be in that spot and to do our
Wow.
own self exploration. Um, it's also really important because sometimes our limits as therapists are because we have our own problems. So, like, I would be best to not serve someone that is struggling with something that I'm also struggling with because I can't bring my strength to that because it's my weakness. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's important to know what those weaknesses are. And, like I was saying, sometimes I can't see what my weaknesses are outside of someone telling me. So, I would say, no, go to therapy. And then it's really hard for me to like counsel someone in depression if I'm feeling depression. Like I
That's
need that
true.
space too. So
That's
no,
true.
like that's like a really good question to ask. Like if you're looking for a therapist, ask them, "Hey, if you gone to therapy, what was that like?" Like just
Right.
ask, just get it out there, just to see if they had the humbleness to go themselves and see what it was like.
Right. That'll tell you a lot about the person you're going to for help, you know?
Yes.
I love that. I love that. And then a part that really stuck out to me was when you said, you can't always see like where you're messing up, but you also can't see everything that you're doing well either. So going to therapy is
Yeah.
not only just, like pointing out what you're doing wrong and what's wrong with you. It's literally like trying to figure out where you go right and like to recognize that and value that. But that's awesome. I
Yeah,
like that. I like that a
really
lot.
important.
So, a lot of things that entrepreneurs deal with, I'm sure you know too, is just like trying to find peace. And I know everybody has like their own way of thinking about peace and like how to obtain it. And what is your idea on peace, like as far as entrepreneurship? Like, do you think it's a hard thing to get to? Is it like, I guess, like the bar to reach? Is it, what do you think?
Mhm. Oh my goodness. I've only been an entrepreneur hardcore for about 3 years. So
That's
I'll
a
start
long
with that. Like
time.
that's a disclaimer. My lens is limited. It's not like but then like statistically most people don't make it beyond 5. So it's
Hmm.
like I'm saying this not even being a veteran, still having a lot to learn. But what I have learned in the 3 years that I've had done it, like been doing it as a sole entrepreneur, is that you just have to take risk. But as long as your risks are calculated and you see every situation as an opportunity instead of a problem, it would help you see success and not get down or depressed. Um, I see problems as opportunities. I'm like, well, if that didn't work out, it's an opportunity for me to learn and it's an opportunity for me to figure out what I'm doing right so that I don't do it again.
Right.
Um, Instead of getting down about it. But that, I guess that's my therapist part of like, how can we reframe this experience? But I've had to do that for myself of like, okay, well, this is not working. This is not working. What can I do to make it better? Um, and then I would say it's really important to have a network of people that you can bounce things off of.
Hmm.
You don't have to hire a person for that. You don't have to. If you're gifted with a network of other entrepreneurs and they don't mind taking you under their wing, it doesn't hurt to ask questions. And it doesn't hurt to be like, hey, I'm having a problem with this. Can you give me any advice?
Yeah.
Because there's always something to learn. I think going into the space of entrepreneurship, like, I do not have this figured out. I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to take risk would like lead to peace versus having all these thoughts about yourself, thinking you're a failure, thinking you can't do anything right, and then not having a solution to solve whatever these thoughts are in your head.
Right, right. And then it's just so crazy because it seems like no matter what industry we're talking about in the business world, like whether you're an entrepreneur or you are an employee somewhere, which many of us
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs still are, like I feel like we're always
Yeah.
told to leave home at the door or leave your problems at the door. And
All
that's
right.
just kind of how
Mm-hmm.
we're taught and like pushed through life. It's like when it's time to work, work, but like leave problems at the door. But that kind of gives like it gives a feeling like you have to like act like nothing is wrong, and some people take that
Right.
and carry that on with them and they don't do anything else with it. So
Mm-hmm.
like, and my thing, one thing we talk about a lot is that as an entrepreneur, we I don't think that we should leave things at the door. I like for people to bring them whole
Right.
selves to work. We can't always tell our personal problems, of course, but just the point is at home, deal with it as you should,
Mm-hmm.
and just be able to move through life knowing that these things are a problem, but you are handling them at the same time. You're not just leaving things at the door and leaving things unfinished
Yeah.
or unhandled.
Yeah. I think that
Um,
speaks to sorry, I didn't
no,
mean to
no,
interrupt you.
no, go ahead.
Um I think your view is beautiful too because it's like a non-Western view. It's an embodied view. It's something that is culturally appropriate. Because in Western world it's just like do, task, task, task. And it's like that's not even healthy. Like it's not healthy for us to separate our feelings, our mind, our body, our physical sensations. Like if I come to work and I'm stressed out, I need to figure that out. Like
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
tell me to keep being a robot and I'm ignoring the fact that I'm stressed out. Like I'm stressed out because my body is telling me that something's not right. But that's probably like limited to a person's lens and I'm body oriented and that's probably why I think that way. But I know that way has helped me save my life in a lot of ways. Like it's helped me keep my sanity of like, no, I have to bring all of me. I have to bring what is not working and what is working into the space to try to figure out what's best versus just
right,
ignoring it and not bringing
right.
it into the space of where I'm working.
And please excuse my my ignorance on geographical terms and whatnot, but like I know you said like that's like a Western view. And that kind of
Hmm.
like triggered my thoughts where I'm thinking about how I heard, I don't know for sure, but I heard in certain places of the world, their work life, their work and home life is very different. Like ours is like around the clock. And there's some places, I believe, like over towards like Africa, where like their
Yeah,
whole society shuts down at a certain time of day, you know, and
right.
then they have time to go home and handle what they need to handle. And I mean, like as a society, they do that. It's not just like, you know, people who have the 9 to 5s, but then the overnight workers still go to work. It's like, no, everything's closed. So we have time to
Yeah,
figure these things out.
yeah, that's true.
Wow. So yeah, living over here, entrepreneurs, employees, all of us, we have to figure out how to handle our stuff, our personal stuff, because our life goes right around the clock. It never stops. So we have to learn how to properly handle that, or we will
Yeah,
lose everything.
everything.
So do you have anything specifically that you offer, like within your services or your company that can benefit entrepreneurs and I guess, you know, finding peace or just, you know, moving through their journey?
Oh my goodness. I think everything. So I'm a Reiki practitioner, which is it's a modality of energy healing. It originates from Japan, sorry. But it originates from Japan. And the idea is that we all have meridians or energy centers in our body, and when they're off center, dysregulated, it affects everything in life. It affects how we have our relationships, how we move, how we operate, even down to the point of our organs. So, like some organs are associated with certain chakras, and
Mm-hmm.
even how we communicate. Like if your throat chakra is blocked or there's a blockage there, there's this belief that you can't speak up for yourself or you don't feel comfortable speaking up for yourself. So, in that way, you know, if you have this belief that your heart chakra or your throat chakra is blocked, you will have lack when it comes to being an entrepreneur because you feel like you can't speak up for yourself. You don't know what to say. You stumble over your words. You
Mm-hmm.
overanalyze your thoughts. You think you do everything wrong. So that is beneficial. I also do sound healing too. So I use sound bowls. I use different hertz of sound in order to balance out energy centers in people too. So that's the energy piece. I'm also a psychotherapist, so I work in mental health. So if anybody wants to do the Western thing, which is talk therapy, I'm fine with that. And then the non decolonized way is that I am an embodied practitioner. So I incorporate what we're feeling in our body in order to process what's going on in our head. I think that they're connected. And when I was going to school, they don't teach you these connections. I had to learn it outside of school. But I think it provides context for people that come from a culture where that is what we do. Um, so, like, if you go to church, most of us, we've been to church, we have experience of clapping, dancing, and singing. And then, you know, if you come from a Japanese background, you have an understanding of chakras, meridians, Reiki. So I think that's where I'm different in that I don't just do talk therapy. Like I incorporate things that would be beneficial to understand and know and just be comfortable with, you know, BIPOC or people of color. I think that's a summary of most of what I do. Most of my services, they're usually yoga or talk therapy. And then I'll have every now and then I'll have a person that's like, yeah, I really want to incorporate energy healing. But I do all of those
Mm.
things. I think they're amazing.
Wow. No, that is amazing. And I've never heard it broken down like that. Like it really makes a lot of sense. I think a lot
Hmm.
of us are so used to just hearing about the Western style of therapy. So hearing about that and the
Hmm.
chakras and like, you know, I know a lot of, at least a lot of my clients, they do have problems like speaking up. And they make that known because it's not a area that they practice growing up. So that is
Hmm.
something that, you know, I know a lot of people, entrepreneurs, or even maybe startups, may have to focus on, at least for a short period of time, at least. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. So, I definitely want to give them all the information to reach out to you. But before we do that, I want to go into some questions because I did put up like a question and answer type of like story on my personal page and on this page, and I did get some questions. So, are you ready for those?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm reading, like, my laptop is over here because I typed on my laptop. So, the
Okay.
first one is, so they're not really related to like business. I think some are like of interest to you. So, what is the most
Yeah.
difficult part about being a therapist?
Oh man, that's a loaded question.
I mean, you can pick
It's like
one thing, I guess.
one thing. Yeah, it's like it's even hard because the things that are hard are also what I love. So
Uh-huh.
um it's like they blend. I can't just say this is what I cannot stand.
Right.
I would say note taking. Like I think that's a broad answer, but I think it's very superficial to say that. But it's the documentation part, and it's just like, oh, but it also depends on like where I work. So some places they're all about documentation, and you got so much red tape, and you got insurance companies. So that's a hard part. But because I work my own practice, I don't have to deal with it because I'm like I'm not doing that. I don't do insurance. I don't do insurance because I don't want to deal with the red tape. And I don't want somebody telling me how to not be intuitive,
Right. Right.
everything has to be like evidence based and science based. So I'm very evidence based with my psychotherapy because that is what can get my license taken away. But when it comes to like the alternative medicine, when it comes to the Reiki, the sound healing, the yoga,
Mhm.
I don't do insurance. I don't take insurance because I don't want nobody telling me,
Right,
like I
right.
have to do things a certain way. I have to put a label on someone. That's that whole, I work from a decolonized lens. So I'm like, nope, I'm going to do what's individualistic, not,
Mhm.
what's according to the DSM and what people said at a table that I didn't have a place to sit at.
Right. I
It's
think that
just
would make a
no.
lot of people feel more
I,
comfortable.
yeah, it's just, no, I think that's the part that I don't enjoy the most is if I have to deal with insurance and if I have to like, put labels on people.
Hmm.
Um, because it's really hard to look at someone and be like, yeah, you're depressed. When like it's way more than that. I
Yeah.
don't want to put a label on someone because they carry that and they can internalize it way more than they need to. But I think I answer that question without like without going off in like left field.
No, no, it's
'Cause
all good.
it's
It's
just,
all good. But like you're explaining it in such a way that I think a lot of people would appreciate because we don't get to hear these things from our therapists. It's kind of just like these are my problems, they give you solutions and that's it. You don't really hear so much about like if you believe the way your industry goes and like just the different ways you think about things because I feel like that'll raise trust even for you, for everyone to know that. Like that's awesome.
yeah.
All right, so the next question is what were the most challenging things getting started? So I'm thinking, I don't know if they may getting started with your business or just therapy in general. Like, how did you come about, thinking, did you want to be a therapist? I guess you could choose either one.
So I know I wanted to be a therapist. I think by like middle school. And I think it was because I had been through a lot, health wise, emotional health wise, mental health. Like I've been in some really hard spots in my life. And I'm always thinking, what can I do that I wish somebody did for me? So I think that's what helped me center what I really want to do with my life. I think Gandhi said it. I'm not a full on fan of Gandhi. I have my reasons. That's another day. But Gandhi says that be the change you want to see in the world or be in the world. And I really like that quote because it's like, it's what got me in a lot of ways where I am today. What do I wish I had? I wish I had a person of color that would tell me about alternative methods of healing. Um, I wish I had a person of color that was my therapist,
Mm-hmm.
and that could identify with my lived experience. I wish I had a person of color that would not label me a witch if everything I did didn't fall into a Christian framework. It was a lot of that mixed in of my lived experience that I wish I had, and I didn't have it. So I try to bring that to the table,
Mm-hmm.
because it's been healing for me. A lot of the stuff that I do has been healing for me. So I'm
That's
not walking a
good.
path of giving something that I myself have not experienced and received healing from before I even brought it as a service to the people I serve.
That's good. That's good. Wow. And then like the way that you explain the alternative ways of healing, like I heard you speak of that a couple of times. Like I think that's it's very much needed in like this progressive society that we're in. Like we're dealing with a lot of things we've never dealt with before. And just one
Right.
way of doing it is just it's not gonna cut it for a lot of people. So
Right.
yeah. All right, the next one, we have two more. This one is how do you tackle romantic relationships and entrepreneurship? So I guess they wanted to know, like, I guess a tip or two of how to balance the two. Because, you know, I feel like a lot of people who are entrepreneurs, um, they're self-starters. They do a lot for themselves. So like to kind of combine two bodies, two minds, you know, it can be a
Mhm.
lot. So I guess they're trying to figure out how do you do that in a comfortable way? They may clash a lot.
Um,
Maybe I think that's where that's coming from.
mhm. um, Disclaimer first is I tend to compartmentalize, which means that I take one thing and I keep it in that spot and I don't blend them. So some people that might not be your style, and that's okay. I want to say that this is just how I do it. And this is how I've known other people to do it, but it's not like 100% this is what's going to work if you do it. So I try to just set boundaries. I try to say, this is my business and this is my relationship. And if at any time my relationship wants to help with my business, okay, but I don't put the expectation on my relationship. Um, that's how I separate the two, and that's what I tell people.
That was
I
deep.
just treat my business like a job. You say what?
That was deep.
Yeah, it's just this whole boundary thing, like just deciding how to equal out what's important to you. So your business is important. Figure out how to implement that into your life without offending the other thing that's really important to you.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also important to have someone that will support your business. Like, you know, if I say, hey, to my relationship, my office hours are like from 5 to 7 on a Thursday. That person hopefully understands that that's office hours. Please don't ask me to go out on a date or something or, you know, do something for you because it's my business. So it's just like I have to operate it like office hours. And I hope you can understand that. But I just say like set, you know, I do block scheduling, which is like I block out times for things and I just don't blend them. And if they just so blend, it's because they offered it, but I don't put the expectation on, you know, whoever I'm in a relationship
Right.
with. I don't say, you need to help me pack up these, you know, oils and you need to come to my yoga class and you need to return these phone calls. Like, I don't do that. I
I like that.
compartmentalize. I separate the two.
Hmm. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Um, but overall, boundaries, everybody, boundaries.
Yes. Very
So,
important.
yes, I'm a big fan, big fan. I've learned that. All right, the last question. If there's one tip that you can tell an entrepreneur about finding balance, what would that be? I'm sure there's lots of tips about finding balance. And I guess you were talking about it just a little bit just now.
Yeah. Um, hmm. Yeah, I think I would just repeat the the balancing is the boundaries. Um, just setting the boundaries and then also having grace with yourself to change the course. Um, Sometimes I can make a plan and I can have a schedule and I can be like, this is what I'm going to do. But then the body oriented part of me is like, I'm really tired today. That's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then just honoring that because sometimes people can get really burnt out really fast and they don't honor the fact that they're burnt out. So that's when it's a crash and burn and other things start to fall apart when they don't have to. Um, so I think extending my self grace has been huge for me. And then just changing course. Like it's okay if I had a plan and it did not work out. And I tell myself, I have internal dialogue all the time of like, no, like you're not a veteran at this. There's a lot to learn. Relax, Jen. Like just try again tomorrow and just be gentle with myself. But and then too, I make sure I have people around me that fortify what I'm trying to say to myself. So I don't have other people around me that's going to put me down either. I have people
Yeah,
that's going to be like, okay, yeah, you messed up yesterday. What we got today? How can I help you?
exactly.
Um,
I worked too hard on this, so
yeah, like I don't need negative Nancy coming in running her mouth. Like I need
yeah,
people around me that's going to tell me the truth, but do it in a constructive way, and then offer some solutions. That too. Like I don't have people around me that just like nag, 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 but they don't have no ideas. They don't have no feedback. It's just negativity. It's like you don't have
yeah,
nothing else to say to me except the negative. Like
yeah.
switch. Um,
Someone that
so
has
I make
strong words
sure
for
that
you.
mind and environment matches up with each other.
Right, right, right. And that's the one thing I know. It's like a joke when people say, it was like a couple memes that said it. Like you'll say something to a friend or maybe like a romantic partner, and then their response is, "Oh, that's crazy." It's like, no, I don't need
Oh yeah, I
you. I
saw
need
that. I
somebody to
saw that
help
meme.
me. Oh my goodness,
One way
that's
to counter like
hilarious.
that, the therapist in me is like, oh really? In what way is that crazy?
To get
And
them to
just challenge them, be
elaborate.
like, elaborate. Help me know if I should bring this to you in the future or just keep my mouth shut.
Right,
Whatever their
right,
answer is, it lets me know. I don't take
right.
offense to it. I just be like, let me know now because life is short. I don't have time for anything that's going to hold me back. So let me know now. Like, are you going to support me or not?
For real. Because it's getting serious out here really quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was our last question. So my question to you now is there, because we have a lot of entrepreneurs that follow people who are just in plenty of different industries. So is there anything that you are trying to do or move towards that, or that you're in now, that you may need some help with? Are you looking for any partners in anything? Do you need to hire anybody? Anything at all? And if it is, and if there is nothing right now, we just need to know where to reach you in case we can offer anything to you.
Oh, yeah, sure. I know right now I'm not hiring. I know at some point I will be. And my overall goal is to have a wellness space that offers alternative healing. So there can be like a massage therapist, there can be a child therapist, there could be another Reiki practitioner. I know I'm bringing on an employee in like the next 2 months. And they're supposed to be doing like energy healing, yoga, like the alternative stuff. Cause I'm having so much mental health that I can't keep up with the other things, but I still want to offer it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know that's where I most likely will be moving within the next year or so. Um, yeah, that's where I am now. I can't see myself taking on more than one just because I'm like, baby steps. We
I
got to
know.
figure out
Yes.
baby steps for now. But I know I'm very busy. So if someone wants to reach me, I have a waiting list for mental health. And if they want to do like alternative medicine or alternative ways of healing, they can usually book it within the next 2 weeks or so. Because I usually book that far out. But I'm pretty accessible. Like I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. They can email me. I have like an intake form on my website. It asks like what you're seeking, and then I usually follow up with people within 2 to 3 business days. Um, and then I'm also contracted with several companies. So like I'm contracted with a private practice that does services for BIPOC. And then I'm contracted with a yoga studio. So like even if you don't reach out to me for So Yoga Philly, if you follow me, you'll see like what other companies I work for and who I partner with. Because I'm out here. I'm doing the stuff. Like
Yes,
I'm
you
very
are.
busy.
Yes,
There's
you
like not a
are.
shortage.
So y'all heard her. Listen,
Um,
follow her and find her. Everything is Soul Yoga Philly. The what? Not the website. The email address is too, correct?
Yeah, it's soulyogaphilly@gmail.com. The website, Soul Yoga Philly, Instagram, Soul Yoga Philly,
Nice
Facebook,
and
same thing.
simple.
It's
Nice
like
and simple.
pretty easy.
So they can't tell me that they can't find you. So no,
No.
but that's good. So she's very easy to find, everybody. If you know anybody, I'm speaking to the viewers and everybody's going to be watching this later. If you guys know anybody that can help Jen on her journey, or if she can help them, or just whatever, we're here for connections. Do your
Mhm.
thing, send it out, comment, tag people, all of that, because that's what we're here for. We're here to
Ooh,
help each other grow.
I just thought of something. So I joined an initiative, and it's to build a mindfulness space within a school, like a school. I don't know where it's going now, but I'm raising funds for that, and I know that anybody that can help me with like grants or funding to build this mindfulness space in the school, it would be awesome. I have the
Right.
link. It's in my my link tree, but like that's one of my projects I'm working on now. I'm trying to get a mindfulness space in a elementary school. And what the teacher and the principal wants to do is they want to offer a space instead of offering detention or
Mm.
punitive measures. Like they really want something that is gentle and that teaches them how to have healthy coping skills versus, yelling, putting them on the tension, not really
Yeah,
giving them the
yeah.
tools they need. But that's one thing that just came to mind. It's like on the back burner because it's like, the kids are not in school right now and it just keeps happening. But I'm always raising the funds and I'm always trying to figure out how I can make this happen for the kids.
Yes, yes, I love that. So I can't wait. So I'm sure we will have some people to share this like with people that they know, because we all know somebody somewhere. We all do. We just gotta
Yeah,
continue to share and just be open to helping other people, because it always comes back to us. So, but I like
always.
that a lot, and we need that because we need that to grow and for other schools to catch on and do the same thing. So I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right then. So is there anything else you want to mention?
I did want to mention I'm all about, if I can't help, I want to send you somewhere that you can get help.
Hmm.
So if you're looking for a therapist and you want somebody that has your lived experience or looks like you can always go to black therapyforblackgirls.com. I like full on support them. And if you're looking for alternative ways of healing, yoga. So I teach people of color yoga on Sundays at Studio 34. You can go there. And if it's not coming to my class, they have a whole bunch of other classes that are like $8. It's amazing space. And they have yoga for trans. They have yoga for people of color yoga. They have chair yoga, yoga for seniors. Like they make yoga accessible and they make it
Wow.
cheap. Like you're not spending like $55 for an hour class. It is in West Philly, but it is a really good resource because there's also a large community of wellness practitioners there. So if you're interested in acupuncture or Ayurvedic medicine or there even is a naturopath doctor there. So like if you're interested in seeking out natural health things, you can go to her. But there's a whole community of people there. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can always check out Studio 34 too. That's another space that's really close to my heart.
I love it. We definitely needed you on here. We really did. I'm telling you. If there was no other time that was more perfect than now, I don't know when it would have been. But we definitely needed you. So
Yeah,
thank you so much. That was that
no
that is some gold
problem.
right there. So we need to rewatch this. If you watched it, we're going to watch this again, because this is a lot of information, but it was all useful. And I feel like we all can use it in one way or another. But yes,
Mm.
can we just like toast to that? Because that was awesome. I know you
Yeah,
have your cup over there.
yeah,
Okay. All right. But
yeah,
thank you so much again. I appreciate your time. I will stay
no
in touch with you.
problem.
And if anyone reaches out to me about anything, I will quickly reach out to you and forward everything to you.
Okay, thanks for
All
having
right.
me.
No problem. And I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.